So today I'm going to be talking about the readings being done from the lectionary and exactly which parts of the lectionary that the reader reads during the Mass. So if I was explaining to someone how to read the reading from last weekend, I might go through the lectionary a bit like this. You obviously don't say 8th Sunday in ordinary time, don't do Year A, don't do first reading. You read out a reading from the prophet Isaiah. You leave out this biblical reference number, chapter 49, verses 14 to 15. You certainly don't say those. You also leave out this heading part. Even these may forget, says the Lord God, yet I will not forget you. And then, so you leave out that part, but you read this part here. And then instead of this is the word of the Lord, with the new Roman Missal, we've got different words to say. We now say the word of the Lord. So that's following our new Roman Missal with a new translation of those words. Though on some occasions, instead of the reader themselves saying those words, a cantor might sing those words instead. A book that gives the clarification, I think, on this is this book called Documents on the Liturgy, 1963 to 1979. It's quite a big book, and it's got a whole lot of instructions. And one of the ones that it's got is you have people who have queries about things that they're uncertain about, and they send off their query to the Vatican, and it comes back with some answers. And so a query here is query. Before the biblical reading, sometimes priests or lay readers announce subtitles for the selection or even the rubric, the first reading, the second reading, etc. Is it permissible to follow this practice? And the reply from the Vatican, clearly not. As with all rubrics, the titles, the first reading, the second reading, are guides for the convenience of the reader. As to the captions, which consist either in a sentence drawn from the text or in a summary statement of the readings, they too are guides, useful for choosing among different texts, especially in the Commons. The sole title to be announced is one indicating the book of the Bible or, where applicable, its author, for example, a reading from the letter of Paul to Timothy, a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. And the reference for that is in Notitiae, the Vatican's journal, is Notitiae 14, 1978, 303, number 5. So, so that's to me, the answer in terms of any doubts that may arise about whether it's a good idea for the reader to read out that caption or heading part of the reading. And they're giving the answer clearly not. If you didn't have this book, and if someone didn't want to come and watch this video of mine, another way that you might be able to convince them that they shouldn't be reading out that heading would be to look at this reading from the 21st of December. If you think that you should be reading the caption, the heading, the title, it might be another word for it, you'd be reading a reading from the Song of Songs. I hear my beloved, see how he comes leaping on the mountains. I hear my beloved, see how he comes leaping on the mountains. And there's no way that the reader in Mass should be doing that. It makes no sense to be repeating the same sentence like that. So it's clearly not the intention that part of it be read. Now, perhaps you can have the priest introducing the reading, or even perhaps the commentator introducing the reading, and they might want to discuss something like the title for this reading is I hear my beloved, see how he comes leaping on the mountains, and then explain a bit about the reading and get people prepared to listen to it. So perhaps the commentator, perhaps the priest would incorporate it in it. But the idea that the reader himself, standing at the ambo, would read the same sentence twice just clearly doesn't make sense. It's not intended for that purpose. So on the point of sometimes a cantor reading the final part of the cantor singing the word of the Lord instead of the reader reading it. So you've got the general introduction to the lectionary, and if I can find number 18 is the part where it's got it. Yeah, so it's got here number 18. At the conclusion of the other readings, this is the word of the Lord may be sung, even by someone other than the reader. So that's where it's got this option for someone else to be singing that acclamation at the end of the reading. Some other parts of the Mass that the reader might be involved with is the reader might be doing the entrance antiphon and the communion antiphon. It's one of the options, one of the ways it can be done in the Mass. It could be the priest reading it, or it could be the whole congregation saying those. Or of course there may be a song being sung instead of using those antiphons. And another part of the Mass that the reader sometimes does is the prayer of the faithful. But interestingly enough, it's not really the reader's job to be doing that. They're kind of the extraordinary minister for reading the prayer of the faithful. Because in the Roman Missal, in the general introduction to the Roman Missal, number 177, we've got the explanation of who does that. And it's got it here. 177. After the introduction by the priest, it is the deacon himself who announces the intentions of the universal prayer, usually from the ambo. So just as it's the deacon's job to be reading the gospel, it's also the deacon's job to be proclaiming the prayer of the faithful, the universal prayer, announcing those intentions. A possible exception to that would be the stational mass of the diocesan bishop, because another liturgical book, the Ceremonial of Bishops, seems to give it as an option that the deacon do it, or a lay reader. But clearly for a normal mass following the Roman Missal, if you've got a deacon in the mass, the deacon's the one who should be reading those parts, those intentions of the prayer of the faithful. So I hope this has been helpful in explaining a bit about the reader's job. I'm John Lilburn, and thanks for watching the video.